Thank you for joining us on this Thursday of the Word of Encouragement. And today I'd like to go to Isaiah chapter 45. Isaiah, of course, is the prophet that deals with what's going to be coming and deals with the judgment of God upon a nation that has not followed his law. Covers much ground in this tremendous prophecy. And it gives a very specific prophecy in chapter 45, which is, I find, a great encouragement. We read in verse 1, "Thus saith the Lord to his anointed, to Cyrus, whose right hand I have holden, to subdue nations before him, and I will loose the loins of kings, to open before him the two-leaved gates, and the gates shall not be shut." And then it goes on later to talk about that Cyrus is the one that will give the command for the Israelites to be able to go back to Jerusalem. That's an amazing thing. Cyrus was the first emperor of the Medo-Persian Empire. He conquers the Babylonian Empire, very powerful man, and yet it's very interesting. God calls him his anointed. He's held his hand. He caused him to have the ability to subdue nations. And so he becomes a servant of the Lord. Now here you have a pagan king of a major brutal empire that is used of God to further his purposes. Now we have, over these last years, as we've had these times together, talked about the often discouraging news that we will hear. And we will look and things seem to be turned on their head, and we see nations against nations, and we see things that are not right, and people that hate God, and a lot of things that can be discouraging. The people of Israel could be very discouraged, as at the time of Cyrus coming on the scene, Belshazzar was the co-regent in Babylon. Things were wicked. They had forgotten Daniel, even though he still had a place of honor. They had certainly forgotten Nebuchadnezzar, who had come to know the Lord, and it was a major testimony. And then they hear of this encroaching army, and the fear must have been there. But little did they know, God was allowing this to happen because he had a plan. Daniel was going to rise in the Medo-Persian Empire. Cyrus was going to allow the people to come back. He was going to take this Gentile empire and accomplish his will. Friends, we don't know what God is doing. We know the end. We know what's going to happen in the tribulation, and we know what's going to happen in the millennium and after the millennium. And all that is leading up to that is all in God's hands. And so as we see empires rise and go, as we feel threatened, we need to realize God is in control. So I just want to encourage you today. Don't let the news throw you. In fact, be careful of watching too much news. Spend time in the Word. Certainly you need to know what's going on. But let's realize our great God has shaped history, and he's ready to shape it in the days to come. We need to serve him with confidence and with joy.